The Methodist Mission this week released the results of a survey it put together on family needs in Mosgiel. It found there are good social networks for families in the Taieri Plain township, but newcomers to the area took time to get connected. The mission's business development manager Sue Nash is here to tell us more. Good evening, Sue.
Good evening. Thank you,
Tell
Rebecca.
us the reason why the mission did the survey.
Well, we've got a small community house in Mosgiel, Arahina House, and we work with quite a lot of the other NGOs. We just had a feeling there might be young families that weren't sort of plugged into all the services, that perhaps were in some form of isolation, not feeling part of the community. In fact, what we found was a majority of people actually were very in with the community, felt very much part of Mosgiel. And so although there was a significant minority that were perhaps not picking up with the services, needed other services, our assumption about lots of people being isolated was not quite right. So the research was very helpful in proving us wrong, if you like.
Now, who exactly did you survey?
We surveyed families with children preschool, so 0 to 5. We actually talked to 109 families or parents. We initially looked at just working in 3 streets. That extended to 14, and then Miriam, who actually undertook the survey, went out into the street, outside Countdown, outside New World, and just talked to people there. So we got a really good overview of families.
Did you get any sense of why newcomers have a different perception of the support groups and the social networks available in Mosgiel?
I think probably a lot of it's to do with when you move into a new house, you've got a lot of immediate needs and you don't always look around for the services that are there. And the people that had come back to Mosgiel, had family in Mosgiel, they were sort of plugged in and they knew what was around. So I think that was the main problem.
The swimming pool in particular has sparked debate recently in terms of whether residents actually want a new one or not. Did the survey find out anything about that?
Most people didn't have very positive things to say about the swimming pool, which was unfortunate. A lot of people felt it was too cold, too crowded, not open long enough. Although it was well used, there was some negative feedback about that. And I mean, conversely, a lot of people used the library. That got incredibly good feedback, you know, people saying it was the nicest library they've been to, which is great in a small town like Mosgiel. Yeah.
What sort of work does the mission do in Mosgiel?
We've got a community house. It's Arahina Family Support, and so we supply support and advocacy work. We have budget advice groups coming in. We have a cake decorating group comes in. There's a show jumping group comes in and uses the facility, but it could be used a whole lot more. And I think that's where we'd sort of like to take some of this research we found from the survey. We'd like to sort of use that to open up our community house and make it a place where people could come and drop in.
That was going to be my next question.
Oh, sorry.
So, no, that's quite all right. Are there ideas in mind from the results?
Yes, I've got quite a few ideas. Well, we all have, about what we'd like to do. Certainly what was coming out from a lot of young mums was we'd like somewhere we can just drop in, where it's not structured, where there's no timetable. And so we sort of think, well, we might be able to provide that so they can meet one another and just have some relaxing time and not feel they have to pay or it's structured in any way.
Methodist Mission Business Development Manager Sue Nash, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
After the break on 39 Dunedin News, we continue